Stay tuned for the planet Earth's most relevant newscast. Broadcasting from Sector 17G of the Milky Way Galaxy, we present you a program that is a strange combination of newsworthy and non-newsworthy. Funny at times and extremely non-funny at others. Ladies and gentlemen, Earthlings and Lunars, we present to you Valemount Live.
Good evening, Valemount, and welcome to Valemount Live, episode 86, the final episode of the 2011 season. Moving into the Christmas season, we've got lots of seasonally appropriate events that have been going on, and we're going to bring you the highlights of a harp concert, as well as the elementary school Christmas concert that occurred just recently. As well, we've got a little bit of sledding action and a lot of fundraising going on. But first, we want to give you the opportunity to meet a newcomer to Valemount and get his first impressions.
The metropolis known as Valemount. I was actually talking to my mom today, back in the States, and she goes, where are you on your tour? I said, oh, I'm in Valemount in British Columbia. And she goes, oh, I've never even heard of that town. What's Valemount like? I go, well, you know how Vegas' slogan is, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? I think this town's slogan should be, what happens in Valemount is a freaking miracle, because nothing happens in Valemount. To people like that. It's a beautiful town. It's so quaint and tiny and just so, it's like something out of Norman Rockwell. It's again, I'm from the States. I actually grew up in Miami, so this is cold. I haven't seen these guys for 2 weeks. It's been right up there. I've only seen snow, like honestly, maybe 10 times in my life. Because again, I'm from Miami, so the only kind of snow I'm used to is snow. So I'm running around going, oh my God, it falls from the sky.
I was just pulling your leg there. That was actually Flip Schultz, one of the stand-up comics who was here in Valemount just at the end of last week to put on a charity fundraiser along with his partner James Uloff. Flip and James took a bit of a breather from their world tour to drop by Valemount and entertain us. And the reason that they're here actually is because Laura Lee Schneider and Zach Schneider saw them in Jasper and talked to them about coming here and supporting a local charity. So let's see what Laura Lee and Zach had to say about this event and their role in it.
I've seen one of the comedians in Jasper, and they were raising money locally for the Jasper Community Cancer Group, and I thought, oh, that's a great thing to do, and I like comedy. So
Let you only see Flip in action. We want to give you the opportunity to see James Uloff, Flip's partner as well. James originally hails from Alberta, where he's a paramedic, but he found his true calling and followed it as a stand-up comic. So here's a look at James. See if he makes you laugh.
Like we're at least 60 people in here now. You guys are true. You know what I want to do right off the bat? We can't do anything that we do without you guys buying tickets and supporting, so big round of applause to yourselves, okay? I'm not going to lie, that sounded a little louder. You guys are a little conceited, if you ask me. I said clap for yourself. What are you getting? Standing ovation almost there from that lady. She's like, clap for me. Yeah! Okay, I get it. I got the Valemount tempo. We're here. Right on. We got a baby. Hey, baby. Can you imagine what it would be like watching a comedy show as a baby? Like, what is wrong with this guy? This guy's a strange fella. Oh, right on. We're Sunday night. We're going to get crazy in here. Anybody have to work tomorrow? Yeah. Right on. Smuggle some booze in or what? No? Anybody celebrating anything out there tonight? We got any birthdays in the house? Any anniversaries? Any divorces? That's something to celebrate, huh? Finally got rid of that guy. Nice. Okay, yeah, I like, I'm originally from Alberta. I live down in the U.S. now, and it's cool being here in B.C., cool anywhere around these mountains. The air is so dry, though, isn't it? You guys notice that? Probably, huh? I get bloody noses all the time when I'm here. People think I'm on coke. They offer me a job in the oil field.
I had a chance to meet with Ellen Duncan, one of the co-organizers of the fundraising function at the high school, where she was busy setting up the silent auction and the bake sale. And she was one of the driving forces behind these recent fundraising events. And she told me how this all started and what's been happening with these fundraising efforts and where she thinks this trend is going to go in our community.
There's been all kinds of discussions since we initially began the Paul Johnson fundraising. And so we're taking this opportunity to come to you to give a little bit more depth to what's been going on. I simply heard of a family in need someone that I'd been in the photo club with and wanted to do something. And I approached his good friend Pete Pearson, and it's just simply evolved. We never had any idea of how much funds we would make, and were blown away when more than 150, probably 200 people contributed in one way or another, and we came up with a smacking sum of $11,000. That much money was a bit overwhelming for the recipients as well as for those of us that were receiving it. And the community started wondering if we could do this on a scale where everyone could receive some money out of it. So we're now thinking that this might be something that we would do on an annual, in an annual situation. We're looking for someone that might be the umbrella for us, and we've approached a couple of organizations. We'd like it so that it could be a tax deduction, so the contributions would be taxable. And all that's just in thought form right now. Tonight, we have a young man by the name of Zachary Schneider and his mom Lorelei, who are doing a silent auction for their neighbors, Bob and Marg McKenzie. Bob is in Calgary and he's battling cancer, as many of you know. And they asked if I would help out, and so I became involved with this one too. There's another one ongoing for Ted Barr, and it was started by the bakery, the Swiss Bakery. They had attended the first one for Paul, and they went home and decided to do something for them. So it's fed all the way around the community, and there are so many members of our community that have cancer, have families that are dealing with cancer right now. And I think what happens, it's very much like the old-fashioned barn raising. When people find out that there's a need, and indeed they first have to find out that there is a need, then if they can, they step forward. And there's been wood chopping bees, there's been house building bees in Dunster. People just understand that when others are in trouble or they are struggling, that if you can help, you do. And that's why Paul's was such a success. All the people in Valemount know them and wanted to come out and help. So it takes somebody to want to step forward and start it, and then it takes a lot of people to come on board. So it's really a community effort. And this one here tonight will be too. So we want to thank everyone that has helped. My God, Valemount, you're amazing. And there's all kinds of baking here. We're asking people to donate to Bob and Marg, and in exchange they get to take home some baking. We have a fantastic silent auction that Zachary and Lorelei organized with their friends' helps. And, you know, people, we're just so thankful that you came out, that you've helped all these people. And I know that the people that are at home that they haven't had a fundraiser for, that are also going up against this battle every day, and other diseases, I know there's people in their lives helping them too. So, blessings at Christmas.
As most of you know, the last fundraiser, the Paul Johnson fundraiser, raised a whopping $11,000, which is amazing in a community this size. And that first effort encouraged some other local people to start fundraising efforts of their own. One local resident, new resident to our community, Sylvia Hungo from the Swiss Bakery, decided along with her partner to get involved in this. And she's here to tell us about what they decided to do, and how that's going for them at the Swiss Bakery.
From the Swiss Bakery, as most of the people probably know by now, it's been a year and a half approximately that we moved to Valemount, Bogdan and myself. And walking home from the Paul Johnson fundraiser, that gave us the idea. We put up that glass jar at the bakery and said to put a little article in the newspapers, and said to everybody, you know, stop by, drop off a few bucks and make a happier Christmas for Ted and his family. As we know, for everybody it's big expenses traveling to big cities, and in the meantime, yes, a few complaints from people that they said, why Ted and why not the others? And also when Ellen mentioned to us that at the fundraiser from Paul Johnson, that there should be a fund created or a bank account created where we do an annual fundraiser in the community and put the money in that account, and somebody will be in charge with a difficult position to say how much money goes to whom. The idea to put everything into a fund or create a bank account for the future, because it can be you, it can be me, who's next, hopefully not, but you never know, would be great. It will be very difficult to judge, of course, who gets how much money. And people who were complaining that nothing has been done for others, I had to learn in the process too that the church, for example, had already done something for Ted. So we thought through the newspapers and telling everybody, at least most of the people knew by now what's going on, and giving a good idea for the next ones. And now tonight, having that for Bob Mackenzie is for sure absolutely great. And I would just personally want to say thank you to Ellen Duncan and everybody else involved. She started that a new evening for somebody else, and let's just hope for 2012 there's no new names coming up. That's all I have to say.
I knew that Sylvia comes from a small town in the Alps, so I was curious about whether or not this tradition of sort of community barn raising and fundraising had anything to do with her cultural heritage.
My mom in Switzerland, in a tiny small village, what we're doing in Valemount with probably approximately 800 people still, she says, to my big surprise, this would not happen in Switzerland. And I was shocked. I thought when I lived there that was a community spirit, and she says, no, by now, probably not anymore. So very impressive in a community like Valemount, how people still stick together in difficult times. And in a city, it could happen. To me, having lived 6 months in Edmonton, you barely know your neighbor. It would be probably very difficult. Can be wrong, but wow, in Valemount.
James and Flip are also very involved on comedy tours to support various causes. They've just finished the boob tour for breast cancer, and they're involved in the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Canada, which part of the funds from the recent event here will go to. So we wanted to visit with Flip and James and give you a sense of who these guys are so that you can get an idea about what you missed if you weren't there.
We're in the midst we're on our second week of a tour. The first tour we had up here was the Boob Tour, which is a cancer fundraiser tour, and we're in the middle of, you want to show? I got to show the I Love Boob shirt. This week we're on the Charity Gala Tour, which is kind of a spin-off of the Boob Tour. We had a lot of smaller charities in these communities approach us and wanted to put on something similar to the Boob Tour. And so what we did is we created the Charity Gala, and now we're able to have these smaller charities come in together. And it's used a lot of the times for stuff like emergency stuff that's coming up. So, you know, you see these all the time, the head shaves and stuff. So this is now in place. I understand a family in Valemount here is fighting through cancer, so they were able to throw on the silent auction and stuff, and then we donated some shirts and stuff so they can get some funding through that. And we're here for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is also pretty terrific, the Make-A-Wish Foundation of British Columbia. So hopefully we can, over the next year or so, raise enough money to grant a wish, which I think they say on average costs about $8 grand. So do have our job cut out for us. But
And now to the training ranks, where future entertainers like the pros you've seen are forged in the furnace of choirs, school recitals, and Christmas concerts like the one you're about to see. The elementary school Christmas concert packed that auditorium to a standing room only audience, and they were not disappointed.
Evening with the Valemount Elementary School Choir. Sing well, little children, wherever you are. Tomorrow is Christmas, beneath every star. Soon the snowflakes will fall, and tomorrow you'll
In another popular event playing to packed houses, Lori Zacharek from Zach's Tracks was here delivering avalanche safety training programs to some interested locals as well as a lot of out-of-towners. I was interested in finding out how Lori got involved in this and seems to be a big mover and a serious player in the world of avalanche safety training for sledders and other outdoor enthusiasts.
My name is Lori Zacharek, and together with my husband, we're Zach's Tracks. And we're from southern Alberta, but we teach all throughout Western Canada and the northern United States. We're snowmobilers teaching snowmobilers, and really enjoy what we do. And the exciting part is we're seeing more and more snowmobilers get themselves into avalanche courses and learn more about the snow, more about the terrain, and more about what we can do in order to ride safe, have good fun, but come home safe to our families.
Being a non-sledder, but someone who has done a lot of outdoor activities in the past, I was interested in what Lori had to recommend in terms of someone who is a raw beginner, saying going out buying a sled, jumping on it, and racing into the backcountry. So what were the basics that you need to know in order to be safe?
For new riders, head to the Canadian Avalanche Centre's website and look up the AST courses, Avalanche Skills Training Courses. And you'll find courses all throughout the provinces. So basically you click on an area of the map and you can find instructors. And then in an AST course, you're going to learn about the evaluator. First, you'll check the avalanche conditions. And the avalanche conditions are on this part of the trip planner card. And then you'll learn how to find the rated terrain, simple, challenging, and complex terrain. So based on the conditions and the complexity of the terrain, you can understand what kind of risks you're taking on before you go. This is a trip planner, you do it from home. And this helps you to make choices of where and when and how to ride.
What could I expect to learn if I was indeed doing one of these courses with you?
Evaluator has a trip planner component, and this here is the slope evaluation. So when we're in the terrain, we start to take a look at this card. So these are questions that we ask ourselves related to the avalanche conditions, and then these are questions related to terrain characteristics. And for every one of these questions that we get a yes answer, we give ourselves a point. And then we take those points and we plot them on the graph. So for example, if the avalanche conditions were a little bit, the stability was questionable, we would probably be riding somewhere up here on the chart. If we pick a really serious piece of terrain, maybe high consequence or, more likely to slide, we'll slide across here on the chart, and maybe that sits us up in here and we realize, whoa, this is the recipe for disaster. Let's either scale back our terrain choices or let's move to an area where the avalanche conditions are more.
I was really interested to find out who is most at risk. If we look at motor vehicle accidents, it's kind of that 18 to 25-year-old young male driver crowd. So I was wondering if in the sledding community, it's this age group and gender that's most at risk in terms of getting involved in an avalanche and having some problems with that. Here's what Lori had to say.
Any snowmobilers that are out there in avalanche terrain, all it takes is a slope and bad conditions. But if we look at past accidents, we see that the majority of snowmobilers that have passed away were between the ages of 30 and 55 years old, very good at their sport, really skilled riders, but very little avalanche training at all. And that's the thing, we don't know what we don't know. Get the training, start to look at things with a new set of avalanche eyes, and it makes all the difference in the world. It's not about Russian roulette, it's about picking and choosing. It's about timing. And
finally, I asked Lori about her impressions of Valemount, and here's what she told me.
Valemount has an excellent group of individuals, like organization, that's looking after the snowmobile areas, and they're seriously one of the most proactive areas in British Columbia as far as avalanche safety. So they've been rating terrain for years. They've had professionals come in and actually survey the terrain. There's a new system that I hope to show you regarding decision making, and it's all available online as well as in the VARTA pamphlets, the Valemount area.
Local harpist Doreen Beck played a concert to an intimate gathering at the Anglican United Church about a week ago, and I had the opportunity to visit with Doreen for a few minutes before her concert, and here's what she had to say about the harp and her involvement with it.
Doreen Beck, and I am a flutist and a pianist and now a harpist. I just started the harp 7 years ago. I have a Bachelor of Music from the University of Alberta. My background has certainly been as a classical musician. I guess I would have gotten a little bit more into folk with the lever harp, but my interest and background has always been in classical music. There are performers that do pop music on harps and some jazz. It's not, you got to be pretty sharp to do the jazz or the popular music on the lever harp, because that brings in lots more chromaticism. There's a woman called Deborah Hansen. I have not met her, but I've seen videos of her. She does quite popular music. She has a small harp that she wears with a strap and does some popular music. The Celtic harp, the lever harp in itself, has become quite popular in recent years. I'm not sure what led me into playing the harp, but I began thinking about it, and then I had an episode with tendinitis. If I'm going to do that, I'd better do it now. The biggest challenge for me on the harp has been the fact that you're out there in space, getting used to the reading of the music, and there's a certain amount of the strings you have to be looking at, and you have to be looking at the music, so you have this peripheral kind of view as well as looking at the music. And I haven't gotten that totally straightened out yet. Sometimes I lose myself on the string.
We're going to leave you in this, our final episode, with some soothing harp music from Doreen, and as well as that music, you're going to get to see a Christmas light show that your neighbors have put on for you. So I highly recommend having a look around town to see who's put what up. And as well, at the end of the show, we're going to play the full interview that we did with James Ulof and Flip Schultz. They've got their DVDs out, and they've got websites if you want to visit them and see what they've got to offer you in terms of humor. So Flip is at www.comedy-gags-jokes.com, and James Ulof, you can check him out at jamesthecomic.com. And I'm going to show you the good side of the DVD, because the other side's kind of naughty, and these guys were a little bit naughty, so you know, you might want to be careful if somebody's brought home one of these DVDs, and just make sure you know what your children are watching. So thank you very much for watching. Happy holidays. Have a good year. And when we do go into the new year, Valemount Live is actually going to be coming down to once a month. Andrew McCracken, as you know, has just become mayor, and Valemount Live and VCTV are in transition. So we're going to go to a once-a-month schedule, probably the last Thursday of the month. But we will keep you posted on what's happening and let you know what our new schedule is going to be. In the meantime, if you want to become involved with VCTV and you've got a strong urge to get into broadcast journalism or a related technical field, do give us a call or drop by and visit and let us know what your interests are, and I'm sure that we can put you to work. So happy holidays. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good new year.
We're in the midst of we're on our second week of a tour. The first tour we had up here was the Boob Tour, which is a cancer fundraiser tour, and we're in the middle of you want to show your I got to show the I Love Boob shirt. This week we're on the Charity Gala Tour, which is kind of a spin-off of the Boob Tour. We had a lot of smaller charities in these communities approach us and wanted to put on something similar to the Boob Tour. And so what we did is we created the Charity Gala. Now we're able to have these smaller charities coming together. And it's used a lot of the times for stuff like emergency stuff that's coming up. So, you know, you see these all the time, the head shaves and stuff. So this is now in place. I understand a family in Valemount here is fighting through cancer, so they were able to throw on the silent auction and stuff, and then we donated some shirts and stuff so they can get some funding through that. And we're here for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is also pretty terrific, the Make-A-Wish Foundation of British Columbia. So hopefully we can, over the next year or so, raise enough money to grant a wish, which I think they say on average costs about $8 grand. So do have our job cut out for us, but I'm pretty confident.
How did you guys team up?
You want to take it?
I'll tell you, he's just here for emotional support. I've known Flip for about 4 or 5 years now. He used to stop by a show that me and my roommate did at Universal City Walk. This bar called Saddle Ranch. We used to have a Monday night show there, and it was our workout room, so everybody, all the comics in LA would stop by and do spots, and Flip has been coming down there, and
just became friends. That's how it works a lot in the comedy community is, you know, you meet somebody you click with and just become friends through comedy. And James called me. This is actually the end of a very long tour for me. Tomorrow I fly back home, and I've been on the road for about a month. I've been from LA to Pennsylvania to New Jersey to Sweden to Finland, back to Sweden to Miami, then up to Canada for 2 weeks. So very, very exhausted. But James called me a couple months ago, asked me if I wanted to do this, and it worked timed perfectly with my other dates, so I said sure. And I'm happy to be on the tour, seeing parts of Canada I'd never seen before, and helping out with some really wonderful causes.
He misses his cats, though. He's got to get back to LA and meet his cats.
By cats, he means my wife. I miss my cats.
So these tours are taking you to some very unusual places. How does a tour like this come together?
We
like from Finland to Valemount. I mean, that's sort of that's our
well, that was
extreme.
me. James and I just hooked up on this Canadian tour, the Boob Tour and Gala Tour this week. The Finland and Sweden, that was my own tour that I was doing.
A separate entity. Yeah, no, yes. We were in Slave Lake and Westlock, Barrhead, Evansburg, a lot of the little towns and stuff. We're able to do so much in little towns and little cities because obviously there's not a lot of stand-up in town and stuff. So it's nice when you come in and it's the only stand-up show coming in. So usually it'll sell out and pack up. So the shows do really well in small communities, and the heart in a small community is always so much greater as well. So it's the bond comes in there. It's really great.
So would you consider doing a stand-up tutorial here in Valemount for any wannabe comics?
Some wannabe comics?
Yeah.
Maybe some year. We like our tours to be annual, so hopefully we can come back next year. But
well, we tried doing that in Hinton.
Yeah.
We gave we spoke to a youth group in Hinton about the ins and outs of stand-up and gave a little kind of workshop with it, which turned out to be okay, considering we kind of went in and by the seat of our pants. Wasn't really sure what we were going to do, but it turned out to be fun.
You want to see small attention spans, get a group of 14 to 16-year-olds in a room with two comics who probably have ADD, and it's...
We have as much ADD as they do, so it's really like a battle of the ads.
This leads directly into my next question, which is, how do you get into stand-up comics? So I'm picturing you guys being the class clowns and just sort of taking that into a living. Did you have similar startups?
I was actually a jock. I played football, baseball, I was on the wrestling team.
Stop it.
What? Don't I look like a jock? Look at it.
His wrists are the thickest part on his arm. In case,
Got nothing. If I take my shirt off, it's like looking at E.T. physique of an alien. For myself, I was a class. I honestly been doing one form of stand-up or another since I was about 8 years old. I was in a talent show when I was 8, and I did stand-up, and I ended up winning. And I knew it's what I wanted to do with my life. And I did more talent shows until I turned 18, and then I heard of a local comedy amateur night just down the street from my house, so I went there. and just started hitting the local scenes while still going to college. And then I got my degree in theater, so I did acting as well, and they all kind of, acting, improv, and stand-up all help each other out. So yeah, it's just amateur nights, and then I started getting paid little by little, and then it's kind of like any kind of job, you just work at it and you slowly build up and go up the ladder. And one day you too can play Valemount in December.
If your dreams are to play Valemount, we can make that happen. Valemount, right?
Valemount.
Valemount.
Well, I pronounce it Valemount. I think most
Is
people
it Valemount or
pronounce
Valemount?
Well, it's spelled Mount, but I don't think anybody pronounces it Mount.
So it's Valemount. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
James, you have an interesting background.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was my original job. I was a EMT and then a paramedic. I was an EMT in Alberta and was a paramedic in Ontario. So yeah, that's a lot better hours being a comedian than it is running night shift in an ambulance. But similar story to Flip, class clown, kind of worked my way. Always wanted to do comedy.
I'm sure though you end up meeting the same people just at different points in the evening, because as a comic you meet the people before and as they get stupid drunk, and then as the EMT and paramedic you meet them after they've passed out and fallen downstairs.
I could be full service, like I could start to, like that's the start of the night is me doing the stand-up, and then it's like 3 a.m. I'll come and
just take EMT James Uloth.
Okay, so in the newspaper article that came out about you guys here, they talked about James having this ninja thing that he does. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I'm going to give you 2 words, and I want you to take those 2 words, and I want you to be funny with them.
Oh wow!
Okay, so here we go. Because we're putting the stand-up comics on the spot. Do you do stand-up improv? Like, is this?
I don't do very much improv.
Oh, maybe this will launch you into your next.
The improv. This man's a pro improver, but I'll give it a shot.
Okay, so well, we can let you both have a shot at it. So I want you to make me laugh. I'm going to give you 2 words, give you a couple of seconds to think about it, and then make me laugh. Okay, so here's the 2 words. Be funny with them, or do whatever you need to do to make me laugh.
Come on, ninja.
So ready? So the first 2, ninja and lumberjack.
Oh wow, it's tough without a premise to come into. Hey, ninja and the lumberjack.
How about a ninja and a lumberjack walk into a bar?
A ninja and a lumberjack walk into a bar, and the ninja, or the lumberjack says "got wood," and the ninja kills him. There we go.
Flip.
Mike.
Ninja and...
What's with you and ninjas?
I started in Japan for a long time. Lived in Japan for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
So ninja and stand-up comic walk into a bar.
A ninja and a stand-up comic walk into a bar. Ninja and a stand-up comic walk into a bar.
Don't worry, I can edit I'll edit this out. No pressure.
Time-lapse camera going.
The ninja. Okay, a ninja and a stand-up comedian walk into a comedy club to perform, and they said to the stand-up comedian, the bar owner says to the stand-up comedian, "What kind of comic are you?" And the comedian says, "I'm a monologist." Turned to the ninja and said, "What kind of comic are you?" And he said, "Hack." That might be too inside, but
yeah,
a hack comic is a comic who's not very original, but ninjas also hack. So.
I liked it. I got it.
I thought, well, you'd get it, but I'm not sure if the people at
just
home.
Blank stares at the screen right now.
Could you put underneath definition hack comic who is not original? Hence, Flip's joke actually made sense.
So can that label be applied to interviewers too? Like, am I a hack interviewer? You must
one thing about you, I don't think you're very original, so I don't think hack would. Unique. You're a very unique interviewer.
Thank you.
Whereas you are a eunuch.
Yeah.
So life after, this is my last question. Life after comedy. What happens when you have to get a real job?
Oh, geez.
Are you my father?
Hold it up.
This is our real job. There is no life after this. This stand-up comedy, it's not something you do for fun. It's a way of life. It's something that it never leaves you. I mean, I act, I've done film, I do theater, but I never stop doing stand-up. It's like, and I'm not advocating in any way, but it's like a drug. It's an addiction, and the high that you get when you make a group of strangers come together, focus, and laugh at something that you created is the best feeling in the world. And there is no life after comedy. Comedy is your life.
I can probably use a safer metaphor. It's a calling. So just like being a doctor is a calling for most people, or being a painter is a calling. You paint. A painter, I assume, would paint till he's dead, unless he lost his hands. Or
What if he's a
something.
house painter?
Yeah, house painter. That's a different type of painter, but that's a calling too. If you're a house painter.
I guess so, yeah.
But no, you know, stand up some of those things. As long as you're still all right in the head and you have a voice, you can do it forever. And you know, we use it a lot to communicate stuff that, you know, are social issues or stuff that bothers us. So you know, it's a lot of work to become a comic, but it is a great outlet for your social expression. So serious right at the end.
Well, comedy's, I mean, it's kind of a juxtaposition, but comedy is serious to us, you know? And again, you don't, put it this way, you don't take a 2-week tour in northern Alberta, British Columbia, Canada in December, playing cities like Valemount, Barhead, Slave Lake, and Hinton if you don't really love doing comedy, especially when you come from Los Angeles.
Any final parting shots?
Eat your vegetables. It's very important. Hydrate yourself, especially in this dry climate.
Have you heard of the Valemount diet?
No.
We're eating lots of vegetables. Flip, parting shot?
Brush your teeth, and don't forget to call your mom.
Thanks very much for your time.
Oh, thank you. And you said mum Canadian way.
Did
you hear him? We trying to change him over. Mum.
Call your mom. Don't tell my mom about this.
Well, if you listen to any singer with a foreign accent sing, everybody sings with a Canadian accent. So I would imagine that in the theater/acting community, eventually we train them all, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I was telling James, like, I pick up accents very easily. I've always had that knack. So if I'm around somebody with an accent for a while, like on a 2-week tour of Canada, I'm going to start developing a little bit of an accent.
But which is weird because he went on tour with the Special Olympics team for a while, so he actually.
That's not funny.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.